I have an amendment at the desk.
Will the clerk please distribute the amendment? Without objection, reading of the amendment is dispensed with. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida for the purpose of explaining his amendment.
The eastern Gulf of Mexico is one of the most exquisite places in the world for weapons testing. And this committee has made remarkable investments, more than $100 million, in assuring that we have the telemetry to continue live fire over water onto land ranges in the state of Florida. Earlier this year, that live fire testing was paused as a consequence of 51 whales. Now, these whales didn't even know they were an endangered species before 2021. Actually, everyone thought that these whales were a different type of whale. But like many living things, when these 51 whales, a few pods, got to the beautiful shores of Florida, they didn't leave. They didn't migrate away. And so the consequence was these few pods of whales inbred with one another and then got redesignated a new species, only because in the function of that inbreeding, they had a slightly deviated septum and they organized around a feeding habit that was slightly different than their predecessors given their geography. So the Department of Commerce literally shut down live fire testing in a place where this is the only place that we do that live fire testing. Now, it is noteworthy that in my entire time in Congress, none of these whales has had any notable injury or harm as a consequence of this testing. And so my amendment would direct the Secretary of Defense to issue an order to invoke an exception to the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 for national security reasons. This exception only applies to the accidental taking of Rice's whales in the Gulf testing range. And I would urge a yes vote on the amendment. And Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request to enter into the record a background briefing from the 96 Test Wing and also a report from Eglin Air Force Base indicating that from the Department of Defense's standpoint, there's no real danger to the whales with what they're doing, and we would overrule.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.